Well, we thought we'd switch up the music a bit for the start of this week's Monday Madness in honour of the finale, the very, very finale of the movie Trivia Schmoedown. We will be doing a little bit of a Machine Mondays look back. What a blast from the past that will be for Jeannine. We also have Marvel Monsters to talk about. They're finally here. David Harbour is an action-heavy Santa Claus a la Mel Gibson and Fat Man. It's all going a bit crazy. What else is there? Super Mario doesn't sound like Super Mario, and I kind of wish he did. And we are celebrating 60 years of James Bond, talking about some of our favourite Bond villains and having a Bond song game at the end. Listen to that music. Welcome to the madness. Hello everyone, welcome back to Monday Madness with Morgan and the Machine. Hello the Machine, is it bringing you back to a good time?
Hello the Morgan. Yes it is. Very, very nostalgic. I absolutely loved doing Machine Monday, so definitely bringing me back.
Well, I mean, I would ask you, do you recall the intro for for Machine Mondays? Do you want to give a little
Let's see,
a little old school taster?
I mean, it was a bit of a long spiel, but let me see if I can break it out. Hello, Machiniacs and Schmoedown fans, and welcome to another episode of Machine Mondays. I'm Jeannine the Machine, and first off, as usual, I gotta give a huge thank you to David B for creating this awesome track for me, the official Machine theme. Thank you so much, David B, and if you want to check him out, you can find him at David B Music 21 on Twitter. Also gotta give a huge thank you to Kevin the Smasher Smets for that awesome voice intro. I love it so much. And if you want to check him out or his awesome Star Wars KOTOR movie, you can find him at Kev Smets on Twitter.
Now I'm wondering whether to put the voice intro for Kevin at the start of this.
I know.
Maybe
that was always part of it.
Maybe people will have been slightly ridiculously confused at the start of this if I have decided to put it in or not.
I know.
No, if I've decided to put it in and it's just like, well, this doesn't make any sense at the start of an episode of Monday Madness.
I just said it because it was part of the typical.
Oh, it certainly was.
But
it certainly was. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll put it at the very end of the show. At the very end of the show. So, stick around or you can always just skip. There's a little slidey thing.
That
but,
was a really
come back
fun...
and listen to the show. So
that was a really fun thing how it came about. I was in LA and I needed to record Machine Mondays. So I had just brought my stuff with me. I was staying with Kevin, and that was when he was living with Frank. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to go and try to record it in my car because Kevin didn't really have like a private place where I could kind of, record it. And I didn't want to disturb kind of them hanging out. So I'm like, oh, I'll just go to my car in the parking garage and try to record it. But I was having like connective issues and it wasn't working out. So they were like, well, let's just be on the episode with you. We can do it here. Frank like had his whole mic set up. And so like they ended up being on that episode of Machine Mondays. And Kevin just naturally did this whole in a world, kind of thing, which he's great at. And I was like, we need to use that because that was really fun. So it was a really fun episode that I did with the two of them. And Kevin just did that on the fly. And we ended up kind of using it on the show from that point on. So
it was a great episode of Machine Mondays.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get into a little bit of one now, aren't we? So yes. I'll ask the question, but it would be detracting from the smoothness of the show. So, soap, Jeannine, soap. Well, we all know what soap because the Schmoedown finished. So let's just, that's there for the title cards.
Yes.
And,
yeah, I mean, it was a really fun day. It was a very kind of somber, emotional day as well. Just great kind of seeing everyone. It was my first time being at Skybound Studios. That's where they did that final taping. At this point, they were renting a studio space up to that point. So I had never been to Skybound Studios to record anything. So it was cool getting to be there. They had a nice screening room set up. So like if you weren't in a match or you were just there, because people, competitors and guests of friends of the show could sign up to actually be at that taping. There was a big kind of screening room there for everyone to kind of go and watch the matches there. And then like a little kind of area, just like at, Collider Studios, where, a few people could sit inside and watch. So yeah, I was asked to be the guest commentator for the first match of the Spectacular. I was really nervous to do it, but it was
this is your highlight of the
yes. So I'm not obviously we don't have time to do a typical Machine Mondays where I would break down all of the matches or break down the whole event. So I'm just kind of talking about it's Machine Mondays. It's my kind of thing. So I'm gonna talk about my moments that I got to be a part of in this last taping.
I'd just like to just mention that in over 120 episodes that we did of Machine Mondays on It's a Wonderful Podcast, this is the first one I've ever been on.
Yeah. Well, no, I think you did one episode with me.
I didn't.
Are you sure?
I have never been on a Machine Mondays episode.
I feel like you've been on one.
I haven't.
You've had, yes.
I haven't.
Yes.
I have not.
I will find it. I will find it. I
not.
swear. I swear. I think there was one you were on.
I do not believe there was.
I believe there was.
There is this.
Okay.
There is
well,
this.
Now you put me on a mission. I'm going to go look through the archives and see, because I feel like there was an episode you were on.
Okay.
But
I don't think there was.
But yes, I love proving you wrong. So I will. I will look into that.
But winning.
I do.
This is the issue we find.
I don't know if I'm going to win today when we get to our game, but
it's a tough game. It's a tough game that we'll have.
It is a tough one. Yes. But yes, commentating was, something I was definitely nervous about because, sharing the desk with Mark Ellis, seeing people like, Emma Five, who's really natural, and Breanne Chandler, just have this easy kind of flow and funny. And I don't feel like I'm naturally any of those things, or like if I have to kind of do it in this kind of contained way, I don't know that I could naturally kind of spark these things. But Mark is a great partner. He definitely will kind of help you and guide you and in some cases carry you pathetically on his back, take pity on you and just carry you on his back. So I feel like he did that with me, but he was like, no, it was great. Like, you did a good job. It was very easy helping, working through that. So
you could almost picture Mark Ellis's face just going, come on, I'm giving you all this here.
Yes.
Come on. Play along.
Yes. So I mean, he said I did a good job. Everyone was telling me I did a good job, but people
and you did
could just be being nice.
And you did.
But I thought I really had fun doing it. I had fun doing that with Mark. It got to a point where Ben Bateman was trying to like start some shit with me. Like, save that for your opponent. Why are you coming for me at the desk?
This has been a thing for years in the world of the Schmoedown, though.
He had to get his last barbs in while I'm trying to I'm trying to be professional here. So it was that whole kind of thing. So yes, I got to call the match Ty Lieberman and Whitney Seibold's team versus Ben and oh my gosh. Who's the boss?
Yes.
Mark Riley.
Ben and Mark Riley.
Yes. Oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? Ben and Mark Riley, yes. So yeah, I mean, it was great to see them win, just not for Ben, but for Mark, because he was the first Schmoedown champion. So for him to kind of end his career on a win like that was really special for him, and I love him. He's the best. So yeah, it was really fun getting to call that match.
You forget, really, or I at least did. I mean, you obviously lived the Schmoedown somewhat more than I did. Don't get me wrong. I have been a massive fan of the Schmoedown since the very first Schmoedown. But you were a competitor. You know, a bunch of your friends were competitors. A bunch of people I consider friends, or at least fair acquaintances, have been competitors and or worked involved with the Schmoedown. When I spent that summer in LA, I'm probably now the only one that we would have hung around with during that summer. that hasn't actually worked on anything to do with the Schmoedown
No,
themselves.
I mean, aside from Machine Mondays, that
I'm pretty, but no, directly with the show.
with
I'm
the
pretty
Schmoedown,
sure
yeah,
everybody else
has
with
at
the
least done
Schmoedown has
something,
done
yeah,
something.
in some capacity,
But that's
but
obviously because I'm here and
yes,
not
not
over
there.
there.
Yes.
But
So
no,
yeah.
I've always loved it, and you forget how long it went on for. You forget that it was 9 years.
Yes, it's a long time. And
It
how it
is a hell of
started
a
just
long
very
time.
simply, just kind of, silly games like, we do on this show. And then it evolved into this thing with rules and
Yeah.
entrances and characters and this whole awesome thing, which is just so cool. So just love the evolution of it. Love the community it's built. And, I've met people that I'm going to know the rest of my life because of Schmoedown, or I hope to know
Well,
anyway, the rest
yeah.
of my life. And, you know, um,
We
yeah.
said
And
it
it's just like,
before. We've said it before a few weeks ago. I think when was it either the final match had aired or the actual announcement that it was
yeah.
finishing
Hmm.
had something had happened. Um, we said we shouldn't be sad that it's over. We should be happy that it happened and happened so well. And
Yeah,
it
and so many
only
things came out of that.
so many things came out of it. So many friendships,
And
relationships,
relationships, yeah.
just the community spirit that came out of it is very, very predominantly positive.
Yeah,
Very predominantly. And that is going to stay. That is going to be the Schmoedown's legacy.
I think so,
And
yeah.
a great legacy it leaves. But, you know, smile because it happened. Don't be sad that it's finished, because it finished because of something that was in nobody's control, and it basically finished, as we all pretty much understand it, because of the struggles of COVID.
Yes. And we did the
Um,
best we could. I mean, I think I'm still really proud, like, that season was my best
yeah,
season, so I
yeah,
can't
it
complain.
was, yeah.
Um,
But
uh,
it was on an upward trajectory as a show
yeah, like, there were so
all
many
the
live
time,
shows
all the
planned, and
time
yeah, it was
since
building. We were
2020.
getting some really kind of big name competitors, people in the professional sphere and stuff like that, and yeah, it was really growing. And then, the whole kind of digital format just kind of, while I loved that it opened it up to players who couldn't normally travel to LA, it really kind of
I mean,
wasn't as,
if there was ever an opportunity for me to have actually gotten involved, it would have
yeah, I
been
mean, that would
then.
have been it. But it just wasn't as dynamic as what the show was kind of gearing
Yeah,
towards. So yeah, it really
yeah,
halted a lot of things. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they gave us the opportunity to close out the show in the right way, and in a nice, you know, uh clean way, and not just cut us off,
yeah.
uh
In a spectacular way. I mean,
Yes, we got to
why
have our
not
spectacular.
finish?
We got to have our final kind of big thing. So yeah, I really had fun calling that match. It was definitely, like I said, something I was always wanting to check off my Schmoedown bucket list, and I'm glad I got to be a part, even in a small way. I do like to be honest on Machine Mondays, so I will say, I had a lot of people coming up to me, kind of asking me, why didn't you call the Marisol Rachel match? You should have been on that one. And if I'm being honest, I probably would have been a bit heartbroken to call that match, because, I would have loved to be up there playing Marisol again, because that was the best match I
Yes.
ever played.
Yeah.
And to get that opportunity, I think it would have been really cool to see us face off, if I'm being honest. And that match was heartbreaking to lose. Like, that was like my hardest loss. Like, I cried and I was really upset, and just, it was heartbreaking. Just that whole match for me. So I would have loved to have that redemptive moment. So in kind of calling that match and not getting to be a part of it would have just been a bit of a downer for me. So
If
I
I
had a lot of
remember
people,
rightly, wasn't that match with Marisol, you missed a 1 point question and that was
I know.
all you missed or
No, all I
something like
missed was
that?
I just missed my 5.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
I
So it
got
was
everything
basically it was
I was
so
perfect.
everybody got everything perfect.
Yes, she got her 5, so it was on me to get my
Pa
5 to win, and I missed
I
my 5.
see, I
Yes.
see.
And her 5 was Vincent Price. I was
I
also
know
just
it was
rubbing
one
salt
I
in the
knew it
moon
was one
in the
question. I
wound.
remember it being
Yes,
one
no, I
question.
missed my final question. That was it. So I
Yeah.
was heartbroken. So yeah, it would have been difficult for me, to say the least, to kind of sit there and just kind of be lamenting that I wasn't a part of that. So no hate to the ladies that got to be a part
No,
of,
no,
like,
no.
Rachel, she's the obvious choice to be a part of that match with her legacy in the league and everything she's been able to accomplish. And she's a superstar, and even kind of getting her to come back after she left, and, to kind of come back for this final thing, and even just how they played, wearing each other's shirts was really cool, and their whole idea. So yes, I'm glad I didn't. For people who were like, how come she didn't call that one? And because I had a lot of people kind of coming up to me and asking me that, I should have called that match, and how come I wasn't, if I was gonna call a match, why wasn't it that ladies match? I'm happy I didn't, because I just would have been a little sad about it, if I'm
I
being
think
perfectly honest.
yes,
Um,
and that
you
makes
know,
that makes total sense.
yes.
I think the fact that Rachel came back to play that match in this final speaks a lot to everybody's attitude towards the Schmoedown, though.
Yeah.
Everybody, most people who've been around it for some time, regardless of whether they left for whatever reason or not, view it as a positive,
Yeah.
view it as a thing that they love doing, a thing that they love being a part of. There are some difficult moments, of course, some difficult aspects when you're getting berated by some overzealous fans and things like
Yes.
this.
And people
Sure,
criticizing you, and
it's gonna get nasty. That's the nature of sports, though, and it turned into a sport,
yeah.
very much so. But that is the nature of sports. But for those involved, I just think there's so much love for every competitor, every creator, every commentator, manager, person behind the scenes, person running with the camera, whoever it may be, writers, um, the major players of fans, the major after shows, these kind of things. Us on Machine Monday as a smaller after show.
Yeah.
Um, I don't consider myself a part of that because I wasn't any kind of directly involved. Even though I knew and know quite a number of Schmoedown
Yeah.
related individuals. Um, but everybody just has affection for each other.
Yes.
For the
I have so much.
vast majority, which is
Yes.
special.
Yes, so I have so much respect for Rachel and Marisol. So no, this is just my feeling of, like, me wanting to be a part of that, considering,
Yeah,
where I had been with Marisol, and would have loved to kind of just, be there for that and be a part of that, and, just have that moment, that final moment. So yeah, on that level, personally, it was just, made me a little
yeah,
bit sad. But to see them play was amazing. And I loved the kind of the fun thing they did, asking all the ladies of the league who were able to participate in kind of doing the different lines from the final speech that Sandra Bullock gives at the end of Miss Congeniality, because it's all about kind of celebrating women and female friendships, and then kind of closing it on We Are the League. So when I was recording
yeah.
that, I got to the We Are the League part, I found myself getting emotional. I actually, like, started, like, crying and tearing up as I was saying it. So yeah, I mean, I loved being a lady in this league, and representing women well, I think. And just some other amazing ladies who did amazing things. And yeah, so that was a great celebratory moment for women in this game, and what we were capable of. So yeah, I loved getting to be a part of that fun little intro and seeing all the ladies kind of. So I had my machine suit and my tiara, so that was that was kind of
Yes.
a fun thing. So another little moment I was happy to be a part of. And then just finally getting to be interim manager for Kevin. Being in the dungeon was something I wanted for a very long time, and Kevin's one of my best friends, and so to kind of support him in this final kind of trying to get the belt back situation, it was just fun to be there for him in that supportive way, and see my friend actually win, and end his career after everything he's been through, to kind of close out on that win and winning the belt in this really fun four-way IG match was really great. So, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of love there between the IG players. So, and they're, you know, all champions, and it's just great to see kind of
Even evil
everybody.
Chandru.
Yes, and just great to see Chandru having fun, everybody having fun together, and just kind of really being silly with it, and yeah, Kevin didn't miss a single question, and he was kind of nervous about it. Like he didn't do his whole kind of hardcore studying regimen that he normally does. He just kind of took it easy, and for him
It
to
should
kind of
have been
just
all about the fun, though.
yes, and so I told him, "Dude, this is fun. This is the
Yeah.
that's what I was telling him as a manager. I was just like, you know, dude, this is fun. This is the final thing. We're super relaxed. You have all this information in your head. You have it. It's there. So don't even try to think about it. You know, just know that it's there."
There's
So I
no
just kept
pressure
telling him,
anymore.
yes. So I just kept telling him that, and yeah, so I was just really happy to be there for him, you know, when Kaiser couldn't. I didn't
Yeah.
really do much, but just to be there in that role for him. And the fact that like I was the first person he thought to ask was, you know, really special. You know, he's my dude, he's my guy. So
Yes.
yeah, loved just being there for him. So yeah, those were my little contributions, little moments I got to be a part of in the final moments of the Schmoedown. I got to actually like, you know, I ran into Eric Zipper and Winston, and I was kind of like, you know, we are first day buddies, like we all premiered on the same day, and so I took a little picture with them, and just kind of was like, hey, yeah, first day of class, like friends. So it was fun kind of remembering that, because that first day, like I saw Black Panther the day before with my family, which was a really huge special thing, and then drove to LA with my brother, and he was there to kind of watch my first big match. And then Winston, he had his match, and so did and him and Eric, you know, had their first
Yeah.
match. So yeah, we were premiere buddies, and so it was kind of fun, you know, reminiscing on that and then kind of getting that picture with them. It was a lot of fun. So overall, just a really fun day with everybody, and you know, emotional day, and like you said, like I think we were all in that same kind of headspace of we're happy that it happened more than we were
Yes.
sad that it was going away.
You know,
um
we should be. We should
yes,
be. The community, the friendships, they don't end just because the show has ended. And look,
yes, and we're all
who
still here,
knows what
we're
may
all still
happen?
here.
Who knows what may happen in 5, 6
Yeah,
years?
maybe it could
You
come
don't
back, who
know.
knows, who knows. But yeah, we're all kind of here doing our own thing. So if you miss me, I'm right here. I'm
Well,
right here.
exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so
You couldn't be
yeah.
doing more on wonderful podcast related things. So,
Exactly, yes. So it's opened me up to do more things with our channel and help build and grow that, which I've been loving. I absolutely love the content that we create and put out, and I'm so
and
proud of,
you know,
you know, what we've been doing. And now that I can kind of delve into that more, you know, it's been great, and that's why,
yeah,
you know, when I ended Machine Mondays, it was so that we could kind of delve into more and grow our
yeah.
show and grow this YouTube channel, and do more things, and I'm just excited to do that. So whether, you know, it grows, whether it doesn't, like I'm happy to
It's
work on
fun.
this stuff, and it's fun, and yeah, I love just having these conversations, and doing this show, and yeah, so yeah, if you miss me, if you miss the machine is hasn't really gone anywhere. She's right
No.
here.
No,
So
certainly not. That goes for, a hell of a lot of all of our favorite
yes.
Schmoedown competitors as well. They're all doing their own things. You can find them all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody still follows them all on Twitter and things.
Yeah,
So
so you
just keep
can
an eye
check.
out for what they're
Yeah.
doing themselves and
Yes,
support what
everybody's
they're
doing
doing
some really fun
themselves.
things. So yes, please support all the Schmoedown people, because, you know, we're still out here creating things and making things that we're really proud of. So yeah, if you loved us there, you can love us other places as well. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
XO machine out.
Well, there we go. The perfect way to finish a little Machine Mondays at the start of this week's Monday Madness, Jeannine. But we also have other things we wanted to discuss today. Couple of trailers.
Yes.
This Super Mario Brothers movie that looks brilliant. I mean, the
Yes, it looks
animation's just
beautiful. Yeah,
phenomenal.
Illumination really done did it.
It is really perfectly Mushroom Kingdom, Super Mario World brilliance,
Yeah.
coloring, is great.
Yes, it's so bright and
Just
yeah.
they didn't do the weird thing that I know. I kind of always lump these two together, even though they're completely different companies. But you know, like Sonic and Mario, you always kind of lump them together.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And you just remember how dreadful that first original Sonic the Hedgehog looked from that first original
Yes,
trailer a few years
which
ago.
makes the joke they made in the Chip and Dale movie brilliant, where you have ugly Sonic doing conventions.
Ugly Sonic. They didn't do that with this one. They didn't do that with
No,
Mario. Looks like Mario.
but they just added more detail. So like there's kind of more shine in his eye. You actually see like detailed stitching on his overalls.
Yeah.
They have like a little cuff on his glove. Like, so it's him, but it's just more kind of detailed, more
Except it's not
realistically
him,
detailed.
because it doesn't sound anything like Super
Yes.
Mario.
Okay. So I need to hear a little bit more. But what we all heard was Chris Pratt.
Chris
I
Pratt
heard
just being
I
Chris
heard a
Pratt.
little bit of kind of a Brooklyn type maybe thing happening at the end of like
Sure,
one of
okay.
his words, but he was not really. But then also, I'm kind of in the mindset of, could I listen to "It's a me," oh, no, like this, let's go.
But
Like, could I listen to that for like an hour and a half? Like this very
who's to
high
say?
pitched caricature Italian voice. Could I hear that and listen to
Who's
it
to say you
and
would
it not
have to
get
listen to
grating
it? Who's to
after
say you
a
would
whole
have
hour
to
and a
listen
half?
to it a lot? Why couldn't the movie use his voice sparingly? Why couldn't it be moved forward by the animation, by the visuals? What like the games are. Like the games are. Could just be weird action set piece after weird action set piece in order to go, and every so often you just get the "here we go" every so often. Because that's all you get in the everybody
Yes,
loves
I
the
mean,
games.
I would love that. So aside from like, a little bit of some kind of Brooklyn like twang he was given. I didn't. It sounded like Chris Pratt, which I will be a little bit disappointed if he's just talking like Chris Pratt. And
Right,
like
it just it'll
even
come
him.
across as so weird.
Yes, and like it wouldn't be so bad if they didn't try to do this like secret buildup of like what this voice was going to sound like, because he even put this video
Right.
out where it's him like, "It's me, Mario." No, that's not the voice. You'll have to wait and hear it. So like, don't do this secretive buildup if you're just going to talk like yourself. Like
Like you.
just talk like yourself, and okay, we might not like it, but at least you didn't do some big old buildup like you're going to do something creative with your voice.
But
So
you
yeah,
think everybody in the world of Super Mario speaks kinda like that. Luigi, oh, speaking like this. That's
and
how
that's
Luigi
Charlie Day.
speaks.
So I don't know how the Charlie Day. I don't see him
Charlie Day's just
mimicking
gonna
him.
sound like Charlie Day.
Yeah,
He's
yes.
just gonna be loud and
And
shouty
he's
and kind of,
probably gonna
"Ah!"
he might be putting a little bit of an Italian something on it, a little Italian
Possibly.
stank on his original kind of speaking voice. But I absolutely love what Jack Black is doing, because like
Yeah, I
it
mean,
didn't even sound
Bowser.
like him, and then like you get a little bit of Jack Black in another kind of line of dialogue. I didn't remember it was him at first.
No,
Like,
I
and then
no,
there's even parts where he's
I
giving a
forgot.
bit of a Jim Cummings a little bit, a Jim Cummings kind of like Pete growl kind of thing he's doing a
Okay,
little bit,
yeah.
you know. Um, but that growl, that deep kind of tone, that like that's not usually how he
Well, it's not, but you know he
So
has it in him.
yes, so I loved what he was doing, and even Keegan Michael Key did not sound like him. So I don't know if they like raised the pitch of his voice. It sounded maybe like they did a little bit.
Was
Um,
Keegan-Michael Key Toad?
yes, it
That
didn't sound like
doesn't
him,
sound
right?
like
Right.
Keegan-Michael Key at
So that's what
all.
I'm saying. Did they like pitch up his voice a little bit so he could sound like, oh,
Who's doing
or
Yoshi?
was he just doing this? I don't know that there's a Yoshi. There's a Donkey Kong, which is Seth
Ooh.
Rogen.
Oh, that
Uh,
makes sense. I like that.
yes, and Peach is Anya Taylor-Joy, Princess Peach.
Again, though, Princess Peach, what does Princess Peach sound like? "Oh,
Oh.
hello.
Yeah.
I'm so high pitched." That's Princess Peach.
So I
I
don't know
just
what
think
Anya Taylor-Joy is gonna do.
you need to heavily exaggerate things in the world of Super Mario. I just think
Yes.
you
So
do.
So I mean, even if he's doing Chris Pratt, but maybe kind of more exaggerated, okay. But if he's just talking like Chris Pratt, I'm gonna be slightly annoyed.
Very annoyed. And look,
But yes,
I love Super Mario. I love playing the Super Mario games. I haven't for ages, but it
I
kind of
know.
makes you want to go and
And play
play some of
but it's
them.
like I stopped at a certain point. So I'm like not I haven't played any kind of newer things. I didn't really have a Nintendo 64. Um
Oh God, no! I'm not talking like that.
I I
Quite
so like
basic Super
the
Mario.
last Super Mario things I've played was like Mario Kart type stuff. So I've never done like
I do
Smash
like Mario
Brothers
Kart.
or later Mario games, but the OG 3 games, you know,
Yeah,
and when it came with the Duck Hunt and all that, like Super Mario Brothers 3 was the jam, and Mario Kart was the jam. And so
I,
that's
rem-
kind of my extent of Mario games. But
I do like playing Mario Kart and all the kind of Mario Karts. I
yes, they're
remember
so fun.
playing. I think New Super Mario Brothers it was called for like a Nintendo DS
Yeah, so
quite
like I never
years
had
ago.
DS or anything, and when I did play 64, it was like at my friend's house on her on her 64 because I
I
didn't
see.
have it. I was a Sega person, so you know
So you're very
I was
Sonic.
Sega. Yes, I played Sonic, and me with my fighting games and my side scrollers. So
Yes. Okay.
I was all about Streets of Rage and Final
Okay.
Fight and those games. Uh Echo the Dolphin game. And when I got a Wii, I was able to get a couple Mario games. So when I got a
Yes.
Wii, you can get so I got, my Streets of Rage, I got my Toe Jam and Earl, but I also got the Super Mario Brothers games as well on the
Yeah.
Wii. So
I
from
had
time
one
to
for that.
time I will whip out my Wii and that sounded terrible.
That did sound terrible.
That
What a
sounded
weird
awful.
turn of
Whip
phrase
out
that
my
was,
Wii.
Jeannine.
I'll
Well,
just
we
whip
won't be
out
doing that on Monday Madness. That would get us
So from time to time,
banned.
I will play my Wii game console and
Yes.
play some Super Mario Brothers. But yes, I mean, general, just a beloved, fun character, iconic character. And so this trailer looked really fun. That opening with Bowser and
Yeah.
just pitting him against these little penguins, and the penguins, the confidence on these penguins was so cute. I loved it. And just seeing the world and seeing Bowser's big ship with lava dripping down, like his whole kind of
Yeah.
floating land, and that kind of opening with him. And then we get our Mario and seeing that mushroom kingdom and just it's so cool. So really, really excited for this movie from this little teaser that we got. Everything looks
Definitely.
amazing.
Apart from the
And
voice.
yes, and everyone sounded great apart from I just need to hear more. I'm
Yeah.
not counting him out yet, but I just need to hear more. I
I
definitely
think
need to
we'll
hear
wait.
more.
We'll wait
Yeah.
for a second trailer. I think will give us
Yes, to hear a
plenty
little bit
more.
more.
I just
Yeah.
hope everybody shows up. Like all my low-key Mario favorites, like King Boo. Like, where's King Boo? I
Yeah.
just want him in his little ghost castle, flying
Yes,
around.
yes. Oh, those ghosts, man.
Yeah, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Make it. They were always my favorite, like tracks on Mario Kart. The Bowser Castle
Castle,
and the
yes, I loved the
haunted
castle.
castle things, and
Yes, that was my favorite. That one, and then you have to avoid the like holes and the the
yeah,
creepy holes and
yeah, exactly.
yes,
Either it's all
yes.
full of fire or it's all full of ghosts.
Yes,
Pick one. Go for it.
Rainbow Road was
No,
very
we don't
difficult,
like
but I
that.
I know there's no sides, just try not to fall off.
Nobody likes that.
Oh my god, yeah. But yes, yes, I'm excited for this movie. And then yeah, the trailer looked amazing. So jury's out still on
On the voice.
Mario's voice, but the rest of the voices sound awesome. The world looks awesome, and then the trailer looked really fun. So I'm excited.
Yes, it will be a. It's always a popular Halloween costume, but it will be when that movie
Oh
comes out.
yes, and if you scroll, there's even sexy versions, sexy Mario with the
Sexy
mustache still,
Mario. Oh
with
no.
the mustache still.
Oh dear.
Do, 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 do,
Who
do,
is? Here's a question though. Who's sexier,
do, do.
Mario or Luigi?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, Luigi seems more sensitive, so I lean
I
towards
mean, it's a
you
fair,
know,
fair point.
I feel bad for him. He's not the superstar, so you got to make him feel a little bit loved. Mario gets all the love, so
Give some love to
I would
Luigi.
give Luigi some pity love.
Oh, that I'm sure he'd be very grateful. I'm sure Luigi would be very grateful for your pity. I mean,
Yes.
yes, Super Mario Brothers. Excited,
Yay.
bar one thing,
Yes.
which I think is fair. But
Cautiously optimistic.
we also got a trailer for Violent Night, which is
Yes.
David Harbour action Santa movie.
Yes, and so I like that this is kind of delving into I like when like the kind of idea of Christmas is challenged and how Christmas works and the rules of Christmas are kind of taken in different directions. So like the whole
Yeah,
like that's why I really enjoyed when we talked the Fat Man movie. It was doing some kind of creative things with bringing the idea of Santa to a real world kind of working model. And it kind of felt very much like, okay, if Santa were real, this is kind of how it would be. And
yeah.
then we got some kind of fun, crazy action things. And Santa kind of has this past of being kind of this, action kind of person. So it gave definitely invoked a lot of kind of Fat Man vibes for me. If you haven't watched it, I mean, I'm sure people feel a certain kind of way about Mel Gibson, but
Of
I
course. I
mean,
mean,
yes.
naturally. We
Yes.
spoke about that when we talked about it on Morgan Hasn't Seen last
Yes,
year.
but generally, I did have fun watching that movie. So yeah, they just kind of invoked that for me, this movie, and I thought it was gonna be like this really corny looking thing, but it actually looks like a lot of fun. I think
It looks really quite good.
David Harbour is really great casting for that. Um, and so it seems like the rules of this world are there are several people like recruited to be Santas over the years, and but David Harbour's kind of like the OG, the original Santa, who's just still doing it. And yeah, he goes to a house to do his thing, and then in the middle of him he realizes that like there's a kidnapping happening, a
Yeah.
hostage situation happening in the middle of him just doing his job, and so he gets involved to help this family. And it
Because
looks
they're
like it's going to be
nice. Because they're on the
yes, they're
nice
on the
list.
nice list. So yeah, I hope it's actually going to be like an R-rated kind of really go for the kills and action kind of really
Yeah.
violent fun situation, because if you're going to call it violent, it can't be some PG-13 like,
No.
just
No.
blood splatter on his face and we don't see,
No, I know.
so
It has to be. It's got
yeah.
a. I think it's got a really good chance of being a action Christmas great.
Yes, it looked
You
really
know,
fun. I thought it was gonna be so corny. I'm like, "Oh, this looks kinda" but but no, it looked really fun, and I love David Har I think everyone loves David Harbour.
like it
So
looks good production value as well. Like it
yes,
doesn't look
yes,
cheapy
yes,
or bad CG or anything like that. It
yeah,
looks really like it's had some backing behind it.
yeah, it looks like a lot of
Like you
fun.
said, David Harbour works perfectly as aggressive Santa
Yeah.
because he looks like an aggressive Santa
Yes, and
anyway.
especially all the actiony stuff we got to see him do in, like, these last 2 seasons of Stranger Things, I think,
Yeah,
definitely made him a candidate for sure to do this action Santa
it,
iteration,
work,
so
it works really well. I really like the look of it. I think it's got some really cheesy lines in there that are just
yeah.
going to be play great to the
Yes, and I
tone of
think
the
yeah,
movie it is.
yeah.
Um, he's giving people, he's giving the naughty people lumps of coal, but hitting them over the head with bags of coal and things like that.
Yeah.
It works so well.
Yeah.
I'm really into this Violent
Yes,
Night
me
thing,
too, me too.
and I will put it on my list to go and see during December.
Yes, it's gonna be a fun one for sure.
I think it's December the 2nd that
It's
one's
the
coming out.
2nd or 3rd, yeah, yeah.
Or the first week in December anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can put our Christmas decorations up and go and watch Violent Night. That's what you
Yes.
should be doing on the first weekend of December.
Yes.
I'm not one of these weirdos that puts the Christmas tree up on Christmas Eve and then
I
takes it
know,
down 2 days
right?
later. What's
No,
the point?
you're
Put it
putting
up
it
for
up
the
after
entire
yeah,
season.
you're putting up after Thanksgiving, you're putting up your Christmas tree.
Well, not for Britain.
Well, yes, because you don't have Thanksgiving, but
Thanksgiving would go
Anyway,
against completely Britain. It's basically the anti-British holiday anyway.
yeah, essentially.
So, yes. Do you know what? There's a topic for Monday Madness once we get closer to Christmas. Why do people celebrate Christmas stupidly?
What does that mean?
Like putting your Christmas tree up on
The thing with
Christmas
the
Eve and
tree.
taking it down
Yeah.
2 days later.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yes.
Boring
Like, what
people.
is the point? What is even the point?
Embrace the holiday. It's a good time. I know people
Yes.
struggle at Christmas. I know some people struggle at
It's
Christmas,
hard.
but
Yeah.
I do think if you create a spirit in your own home, wherever that may be, you decorate some, it boosts spirit. I do think
Yes.
that. So it's why I
agree.
like to decorate for at least a month.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what I did at work. Like we've been kind of having, been a little bit of stress at my job. Just the job I do, I'm kind of under the radar in terms of like, um, when the boss is stressed and he needs a certain thing done. Like
I see.
my job doesn't entail any of that. I kind of do what I do, and it doesn't really involve anything that he's concerned about. But the two girls I share an office with, they're constantly under pressure from like what he needs and his demands, and he's kind of the type of person who's constantly changing his mind, so then they have to kind of redo something. So they had been under a lot of stress, and so our office was kind of under a lot of stress. And so Halloween spooky season is my favorite time of year, so I just went and got some decorations and
Yeah.
decorated our office, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, like thank you so much, this really like lightened our spirits." And really, it's been really kind of stressful lately. And this, now we walk in here every day with a smile because we just see all the cool, fun decorations. And so yeah, just having those decorations there, every kind of day walking into fun little Halloween stuff and candy. I put a little candy dish, and like I got this little globe that has like a skeleton, and you push the little button and like bats fly around and it plays like a little spooky song and lights up. And little candle pumpkin lights. And so yeah, like they said it like really brightened their spirits. So yeah, I mean,
Decorations are
something
great.
is, yes, they definitely get you in the spirit and the mood. So kind of no matter what you're dealing with, I mean, it's just a small thing that can maybe, help lift your spirits a little bit. So yeah,
Yeah.
don't underestimate the power of decorating
Certainly
for
not.
holidays. Yes.
Certainly
Yeah.
not. Don't underestimate the spooky nature that Marvel are taking at the minute as well in their
Yes.
Halloween
Well,
special. Well, actually, I mean, did we
that was
want
a
to? Did
that was a beautiful segue, Morgan.
I think it was, but did we want to mention a little bit of Daredevil finally showing up
Oh,
in She-Hulk
yes. I
first?
mean, all the fanboys were crying,
Why?
crying, crying. If you go on TikTok for 1 second, that episode like episode 5 or
Oh
episode
yeah.
6, when like, what? How dare they? No, Daredevil, this show sucks. So screw this show. No, Daredevil. I'm not like, but then you still watch it. Daredevil has his own damn show. If you want Daredevil, the Netflix shows are now on Disney Plus. Go watch Daredevil.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, this is the She-Hulk show. He is coming. You know he's coming. So just be patient. Just chill.
Would have been quite funny if he never did, though.
If he just never showed up,
Just
right?
to see everybody
So
really
yeah.
just lose
And
their
now
mind.
I think they're still complaining because, oh, how dare you change this Matt Murdock?
For God's sake.
He's too jokey. He's too comedic. But we've seen him be like that in his show. Yes, his show is very more gritty and serious, but he was kind of still quippy like that.
Well, this is also people that, and I can actually say this about Daredevil, who have never read a Daredevil comic book because he's kind of silly. He's
Yes,
very,
you
very
have
sexy.
Daredevil comics. Yes, we saw him hooking up with all kinds of people on his show.
He's constantly sleeping with whoever. Matt Murdock.
Yes.
He's very much like that. This is
Yes.
not out of character for Matt Murdock whatsoever.
No. And so
And I
people are somehow
really,
still
really liked his appearance in She-Hulk.
Yes. I mean, I thought their chemistry was really great.
Unbelievable.
Yes, and then when they kind of just the flirting was like giving me all the things, and then when they just went for, I'm like, okay, I like this. And then the like funny
Yeah.
walk of shame, that was a lot of fun. Jen calling attention to, isn't the episode supposed to be over? And then I was very impressed that they like actually kind of tackled that issue of, um, you know, revenge porn and doxing kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
it kind of is, isn't it?
yes, it got very kind of serious and difficult and a bit triggering. And um I'm like really impressed that they went there. And I think a lot of people are worried that, okay, really, you just kind of teased this kind of big battle season and now we're just going to cram it into the finale. But I kind of trust that they know what they're doing and they're going to wrap it up in a way that makes sense.
Isn't that
Um
exactly what happened with all of these shows?
Yeah, they
Like, I
pepper
think
in your
of
kind of conflict and then it all comes to a head at the end. But I think they wanted more. They wanted kind of your villain to be revealed and then the finale is when you fight him or whatever.
but
I don't
the villain seems to be, at least, unless they throw another something at us in the obviously in the finale episode. The villain literally seems to be, and it's been pretty clear to me that the villain is the internet trolls attacking She-Hulk. That's the villain of this
Yes.
show, isn't it?
Exactly. It's literally all the fanboys. The fanboys are getting trolled every week and they don't even realize it. Like these toxic fanboys who are hating on this show, who are
In the
talking
real
like
world.
up in arms about, I have people saying, "Oh, I think Jen's low key an alcoholic. How dare Jen say that she, deals with more than Bruce?" Like that is not what she was saying. Like all these people coming for nitpicking all of these things. This show's so dumb. This show is boring. It didn't advertise it like, okay, it advertised cameos, yes, but then in the show they had fun with like the show is not going to be a cameo every week show, and then it kind of did do that for
Yeah.
a couple of episodes. So I think it's definitely smart. It knows what it's doing. Um, all the nitpicking complaints sound like they come from people who don't really know much about these characters. Um, and the show
Well, I
trolls
mean,
them
I
on
don't
that.
know much. I don't know much about these characters, but
Yes, but
it is
from what I
very.
can surmise, from what I can see in doing research and looking at people who know this stuff, they say this is very on brand for this character. So,
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm led to believe as well.
yes.
It it
So
it makes sense to me.
every
It
week it's
does come
something.
across to me as a clever show, as an
Yes.
intelligent show.
So I have wholehearted faith that they know what they're doing. That even though we haven't had a villain with a face revealed to us yet, it's gonna relate to something that they've already shown us, and we just didn't
Of
maybe
course it
pick up
is.
on, or it's putting those pieces together, and the puzzle will be revealed after we put this last piece in place in the finale.
And
I've been.
who's to say that in the finale you won't get a battle of Jen, of Matt, of Wong all coming together and just
Yes, I
fighting
mean,
something?
we see.
You
Yes, we
might not, but you
see.
might.
I've seen trailers where we see Abomination in that form again. So what
Yeah.
happens that Blonsky is back as Abomination? I think it's probably going to maybe be something with uh um the leader, and then maybe that lead into something that's going to happen in one of the later movies. Um, who
Oh
knows?
yes. Oh, the
Tim Blake Nelson.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Do you
I don't
think he's
know.
gonna be? Well. I suppose it is all about the kind of extracting Hulk blood and things like this, isn't it? So
Yes.
isn't that
So,
his
and that
deal?
was his
Isn't that?
whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Maybe it is something then.
I feel like I think people are just worried, oh, we're gonna cram this whole finale, everything in at the end, and it's gonna feel rushed. And I mean, I feel like a lot of the MCU shows did that, and I still enjoy them.
Precisely, a lot
So
of them have done that. Miss Marvel did that. Um, I mean, to a lesser extent. I mean, you go back as far as WandaVision. Yes, Agatha was kind of introduced as the villain. I think was it an episode before the finale?
yes,
But then
it
that
was
finale
a
was really kind of
long
one big battle.
battle, and cramming all of your stuff in the end thing, in that, and everyone loved WandaVision. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of the journey, and people have been, very toxic about the journey of this show. This show advertised itself as this kind of, you know sitcom-y kind of show where each episode's going to be kind of a contained story with something that is a through line
Yeah.
in each one, and it's showing you things and it's telling you things, and maybe you're not picking up on those things. And I feel like the things that I've noticed of the through lines in every episode, I feel like it's going to lead to something that I think should be revealed in the finale. And I think they might do a fun thing where they go back and say, well, did you catch this, did you catch that, we told you
Yeah,
this in the
possibly.
episode, da 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 da. I could see them kind of saying, well, if you didn't see it, well, and Jen kind of rewinding and her realizing, because there are a lot of things that are happening that Jen's not noticing. And
Yeah.
so I could see a fourth wall break where she's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't notice that. Oh my gosh, that too. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice that either." And kind of going through each episode and picking out things that led to this that she kind of ignored or blew off, or didn't care about, even intelligentsia, like her friends telling her there's death threats about her, and she's like, "Oh, it's just some dumb kind of
It's a
Reddit thing.
good
I'm not
point. It's a very
concerned."
good point.
Only for her to kind of circle back now and see, oh my gosh, no, there was more to intelligentsia. I shouldn't have
Yeah.
blown that off. She had the opportunity to ask that wrecking crew guy, like, why did you attack me and all these things, but she was kind of just focused on the group and telling her story and talking about her kind of conflict with her as Jen and her and She-Hulk, that she didn't even think to ask him. Even a guy was like, maybe that vampire guy was like, maybe he wanted your blood. He literally said
He
that.
did. He did.
And she just didn't even. So I feel like
He's
it'll
like,
be
shut up
maybe
being
a
obsessed with blood, vampire guy.
yes, exactly. So maybe I feel like there might be a fun fourth wall break where she's kind of like, oh, I didn't pick up on that or that or that. Oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
whole thing has been leading to this. So I could see that. But I feel like the trajectory of this story has been made sense to me, has been a lot of fun. I like that each episode feels like a sitcom show of like a kind of one-off thing that happens, but you still have your through line that connects them
Yes.
all, and it feels like it's leading to something. And I feel like, yeah, the finale is a great place to, culminate all these things. I don't think I needed kind of introduction to the finale incident in, a big kind of reveal in the episode before the finale, but a
And
lot of people need that. So apparently,
because people are obsessed with having the same structure in
yeah.
their TV shows
But then
and
when
their
they get
movies.
the same structure, then they complain about it being
Of
stale and the
course they
same
do,
thing.
because they're idiots. They're
Yeah,
idiots.
there's no
People are
pleasing them.
generally idiots,
Yeah.
and these are exactly the kind of people that She-Hulk is literally making
Making
the
fun of.
villains
Yes,
of
I'm
their
telling you,
show.
these toxic fanboys are getting trolled every week and they don't even realize it.
Which, to me, is just the best thing it could have possibly done, and makes it just the most enjoyable thing. I
Yes.
love when shows and movies of big name things can make fun of their own stupid quote unquote fans.
Yes.
Because they aren't really the fans, because they're always nitpicking, they're always
And hating on
berating,
everything.
they're always
Yeah.
hating on everything.
Yeah.
It was the exact same with Star Wars The Last Jedi, which is kind of
Yes.
why it was my favourite, because it took all those theories that people were poring over for a year.
Yes, I mean, I was one of those people who. So when I saw the Last Jedi, I was really not happy with it. But in kind of,
It's
becoming this new,
hilarious
but
to me.
but for someone like me who is a fan of things, who can appreciate things, even I can find things to appreciate and things I don't like I did not find myself really liking all of Last Jedi because I was somebody who invested in these stupid ass puzzle boxes that JJ Abrams likes to put in everything.
Sure.
But so in the first watch, I was like, oh, really? Well, he just threw out all these interesting things that I wanted to find out. But in kind of watching it, I really liked what he did. He did a lot of really kind of smart things and really tried to bring in some new characters that were interesting. And I liked the story that he was telling. So yeah, I was able to kind of sit back away from it and find things that were interesting instead of
Well,
just like blatantly hating on every aspect of it, because it wasn't,
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't what you
what I
wanted it to
100%
be.
wanted it to be. Yes. If you were a
I
fan of something,
remember
you can criticize it, but some people go beyond that. It's just insane.
to a stupid degree. I
Yeah.
remember watching that movie, and when certain things were said in that movie, all the kind of. I know it was obviously brought back, Rise of Skywalker did what Rise of Skywalker did. Let's,
Yeah.
not. I'm in the context of simply just that Star Wars Episode 8 coming out.
Yeah.
I remember hearing Kylo Ren in that movie give it all the who are you? You came from Ray. Who
Yeah.
are you? You came from nowhere. Your parents were junk dealers. They don't mean anything. Let the past die and all this business.
Yeah.
And I was sat there going, "Oh, this is great. This is a troll movie.
Yeah.
This is a troll movie.
Yes.
Oh, everybody's gonna be so mad. I love it so much."
But
And
I mean,
I do love that kind of stuff.
yes. Yeah, where it kind of trolls that fandom. And that
Stop
movie definitely
treating
did that.
everything so seriously.
Yes, yes. And like even with Rise of Skywalker, that movie was a hot ass mess, but I still found things in it that I enjoyed.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Stop
yeah.
treating everything so damn seriously. She-Hulk is a
Yes, or
fun
sacred.
show.
Yeah, it's just fun. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Be a fan of it. Be a true fan of it.
Well,
So
here's
yeah.
what else was fun. Here's what else was fun. Jeannine was finally, at risk of going long with our What's Up, Werewolf by Night,
Yes. When
which
I
is
saw this
Marvel's
at
Halloween special.
Yes. When I saw this at D23, this little kind of snippet and seeing that it was Michael Giacchino directing it, and I was like, wow, to see him kind of dabble in something he's been interested in is really cool because he's done some amazing things musically for so
Yeah.
many things. And uh as soon as I kind of saw the aesthetic of it, I was like, oh, Morgan is gonna love this.
I mean,
So
yes. I mean, look, obviously, it's horror fueled, it's bloody,
yes.
it's black and white, it's
Yes.
great. I mean, people have been saying,
Well, including the director, I will add, because I know what you're gonna say.
sure, inspired by Universal monster movies. The only way this is inspired by Universal monster movies is that it's in black and white and has a werewolf. It is tonally so far away from Universal monster movies. It is aesthetically far away from Universal
I
monster
mean,
movies.
the tone in the dynamics of how the characters are interacting is very much a little too modern for those to be
Of course it
comparable
is.
to those films.
It is simply
Which is fair, which is kind of what you want, which is what you're going for. So I can say that it's a fusion,
it's a fusion.
it's a fusion between the aesthetic. I think it's the aesthetic of those films, but it's not, you know,
Is it though?
I would say it's more an aesthetic of those films as much as more than inspired by.
I mean,
Or
okay, there's a big manor house, there's a kind of it's a group of people, there's a werewolf. Okay. I'm not, against likening that aesthetic, but if you want to make something that's inspired by Universal monsters, make it slower, make the camera move less. Make it look like a Universal monsters movie.
Yeah.
Have very still shots or make it look like a stage play.
yes,
You
and
know?
I will say the vampire, the werewolf reveal definitely gave a lot of vibes
Oh, it was
of
brilliant.
classic monster horror films.
It was
The kind
brilliant.
of seeing the transformation, just zooming in on her face and seeing her reaction, and then just seeing the silhouette behind her, the shadow of him transforming.
And it flickering like that.
Yes, that felt very classic monster movie to me, and I loved that. And not really seeing him and seeing his face revealed in flashes of light and not kind of seeing
Yeah.
him full on and him kind of just
No, because you kind of
leaping and
you never
you never really
really
see
saw
until
him
he's
full
kind of
on.
standing until he's over her and she has to kind of
Yeah,
like
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's when we kind of get a full on shot. But kind of seeing him leaping and jumping in the kind of moonlight coming through and though that whole kind of werewolf transformation, I think very much was the biggest point that felt much like, that
Oh,
aesthetic and that inspiration was in those moments, I think.
I
But the
would
rest
agree
of
with
kind of
that.
the movie and the rest of the dynamics of the characters felt a little too modern to evoke that classic monster movie vibe.
I would
So the
definitely
monster
agree with
part,
that.
I think so I think if he's, if people are saying that, I think it's the monster element.
I suppose as
But if
well.
people are saying as a whole, that's murky, and I can see where you're coming from in terms of your that it's not people are saying that wholeheartedly. The whole thing is inspired by that. I
Yeah,
can see
I
where
think
you
this
would kind of
comes.
dispute that a little bit.
I think a lot of those statements come from people who don't actually watch the Universal monster
Yeah, they just have
movies.
an idea of them. They've
Yeah.
seen clips of them, but
Um,
haven't like really watched them.
However, I do actually think the look of Werewolf by Night, as he's actually called when he's a werewolf, is pretty Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman.
Yes, it
It's
looks
pretty similar.
yes, with the makeup and how they did it, with kind of practical makeup.
Full of
That
practical effects, this thing as well, and I love it.
yes. Yeah, so it felt very much. So yeah, there are a lot of elements that I think are inspired by those things, but wholly in that whole kind of opening and the kind of actiony kind of things that happened in that courtyard, all of that did
Yeah,
not feel
yeah.
anything like
But all of that was great. I really liked
it
it.
was
I
great.
liked
Yeah. So
this as
yeah,
a
we're not
story.
saying
I
yeah.
think
Mhm.
it's very, very interesting. It opens up this kind of new world of Marvel
Yes, of
monsters
Marvel.
really
Yes.
heavily. You've gotten tiny little snippets beforehand in the MCU. Somewhat recently, I suppose, a disembodied voice of Blade at the end of Eternals and things
Yeah.
like this. Very, very few things, but you are entirely in monsters exist in
Yes.
this MCU now properly.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize it was Gael Garcia Bernal
Really?
as I did well prior to me watching it, I mean. Like
Okay.
I kind of when I was watching, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I recognize him. I recognize. Oh, it's Gael Garcia Bernal from
Yeah.
whatever from all these things,
Yes.
Mexican movies.
Y tu mamá también.
Exactly. So I didn't even realize it was him. I also
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, this speaks to how I am with looking at things and before I've seen them. I
Yeah.
didn't know the monster wasn't actually, the monster that they were all hunting because I knew it was kind of a hunting
Yeah.
situation.
Mhm.
I knew this story was going to be a group of people hunt a monster. I assumed the monster was going to be the
To be
werewolf.
the
It
werewolf.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It was the man thing
Yes.
who I thought looked so
He looked
good.
amazing. Yes.
Like, even at the very, very end, when it
Now you're
it
seeing it in light and color. Yeah,
when
it
it
looked
yes, when it
amazing. Yeah.
changes back to color, I thought the effects on Man-Thing look really, really good. I wanna see more. I don't know where they fit in. I don't know how they come back. I don't know if you get maybe next Halloween, you get a kind of a follow-up
Continuation. Yeah.
with
But I think
Man-Thing and Jack
yes.
Russell. Or is
So
he
I
called Jack
wanted
Russell, or is that the name of the dog that I'm just focusing on?
maybe maybe
I
that's
want I wanna I'm gonna check what he's called now. I apologize for waffling on, Jeannine. Please give your thoughts.
no, but I think I did hear some reports that they are going to eventually work this character into the greater MCU, and there's going
Oh,
to
I
be
would certainly hope
more
so.
with that. So yeah, there are plans to kind of keep this integrated into the world of the MCU for sure.
I would
Um,
certainly hope so.
yeah.
Why can't I find oh my god, why can't I find who what his name is? I hate that. You know when you forget something?
Yes.
I can't find what his name is quickly, unfortunately. What else did I want to say about
Yeah, no,
Werewolf
you're right. It's
by
Jack
Night?
Russell.
Jack Russell, yeah, I thought it was.
He's not top billed in this
No, that's
movie.
weird.
That's why. He's the last one on
It's very,
IMDb.
very strange,
Yes.
considering he's the absolute lead. But as a concept, I just found this really interesting as well. Like, I know nothing about all this thing.
Me
I know
neither.
nothing about all this stuff.
Me neither. Yeah.
I did actually know, not that this was in the special at all, that Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight have a historical comic book relationship. Not
Oh,
like
yes.
relationship, but in terms of
Yes.
like they are together, they are doing things together quite a bit of the time.
Yes. I believe some of the QR codes, because like if you watch any episodes of any of these shows, there's QR codes that lead to comics related. Moon Knight had a ton of them, and I believe one of the QR code links that you could scan would give you access to a comic book that was a Werewolf by Night
Yeah.
meeting with Moon Knight comic. So yeah,
It does make you think, like, how do them two fit
yeah.
together?
How do
Or
they work? Yeah,
how do at least the two, how they are presented in the MCU fit together? Because Moon Knight was, it was a strange mix of crazy gods and then just interpersonal mental health struggles. It was
yeah,
really bizarre.
yes,
Um, so how Oscar Isaac might come back and get involved with a werewolf is a bit
yeah. I mean, I'm interested though.
unusual to me,
Yes. So
but would be very interesting. I think it would
yes,
all be very interesting to see, but that it definitely would be interesting. Because I suppose gods and monsters, they fit together.
yeah.
They do
And
fit together.
moon character
Moon and
and
moon, yeah.
a werewolf. Yeah.
It does all
So
kind of work.
connect. Yeah. Yes. But yes, really, really enjoyed this movie. The action set pieces were great. The actors were great in it. The
Makes you
elements
wonder
that
what
did
this bloodstone thing's been.
yes. The moments that did invoke the energy of classic monster movies, I think were really well done. Like seeing his face in the flashes of light and seeing the transformation in the shadow and the silhouette was just so cool. Um, and I really had a lot of fun with this short. I was wanting it to go on longer. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I definitely am excited to potentially get more from these characters and this Werewolf by Night. And great job, Michael Giacchino, who of course obviously did the music for this. I
yeah.
loved the Marvel fanfare making that kind of universal
Yes, it
switch almost.
went a bit brassy, didn't it?
Yes, it, like, got dark and black and white, and the werewolf claws slashing through it, um, and that turn of it was just really fun. I mean, I think
The
he
title
composed
card of it
he
as well
composed
looked
that
really nice.
fanfare, so for him
He
to
did.
kind of have to compose this kind of, minor chord kind of version of it, um was really fun. Was a really fun kind of really kicking off to this short. So great job to Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
I hope he directs more things because great composer and also a solid director.
Well, I mean,
So
he's obviously incredibly Disney
yes,
based, Giacchino, isn't he? But even
yeah,
if he just kind of comes back and directs a few more of these, you
yeah,
know, he might just have more Werewolf by Night specials, and this might be where Werewolf by Night's story lives, in specials.
yeah.
Not in movies, not in TV shows,
And these short
but
little
in
kind of
kind of 50-minute short movies.
yeah. It's like reading a quick little short comic about this character or something. So yeah, I
And
would love
why
that.
not?
Yeah,
You're dealing with so many things in the world of the MCU now. You're
yeah.
gonna have to find different ways of
Fun little one-off things that could potentially just pop in if you feel
precisely.
like it works with that story. Yeah.
And who's to say that when everybody teams up in 2025 or whenever it's supposed to be again, there's not a werewolf and a man thing running around with everybody as well?
Popping out of a portal, something,
Who's to say?
if we could have a
Who's to say?
random Howard the Duck popping out of a portal in that
You
big
can have
battle
these
scene.
two come back. You can
Yes,
have these two come in
exactly.
and start ripping up people.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
mean, I know the tone's obviously very different, which is why I kind of think anything monster related should kind of be kept on its own.
Yeah.
Perhaps be more violent, be more nasty, be more gruesome. Um, this Blade, those kind of things, I think should be put your vampires and your werewolves to one side
Yeah.
and have them all be interact with each other. I mean, I don't know how often they merge in with your everyday regular superheroes. I don't know, comic book
Yeah.
wise, how much they would, but it would be interesting to see. But all I can say is that this was just phenomenal
Yeah.
as a piece of horror, a short movie, whatever it was,
Yeah.
special.
Yes.
Um, I really, really enjoyed it.
Me
I
too.
enjoyed
I had a lot of fun
all
with
the little
this.
hunters,
Yeah.
the idea of, you
Them
know,
coming together. That
phenomenal monster hunters coming together because of the death of a significant monster hunter,
Yeah,
and
and
he
then he
has
kind
this
of comes back
prize.
as this puppet ghost host kind
Yes,
of thing.
it's
Yeah.
so it embraced a little bit of silliness as well,
Yes.
which
Yes.
I always like
And like some
when.
solid action as well. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Elsa Bloodstone, she seems really interesting to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm interested to see more
Me too.
from these guys, and I hope we do get more because, oh
Yeah.
my God, has it been successful critically and
Yes, it's so
numbers wise.
fun. Yes, and it looks amazing and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed this and I am excited for more potentially. So yeah,
Does Man
Werewolf by
Thing
Night.
also mean? No, it doesn't, because that's DC. I was going to suggest Swamp Thing, but then I remembered that
Yeah.
Swamp Thing isn't
Yes.
Marvel. And basically, Man Thing is
Is their version.
Marvel's Swamp Thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Basically.
Yeah.
When we get a Man Thing show, didn't we have a movie of Man Thing in the mid 2000s?
I don't remember.
I'm sure we did. I'm sure it was like really not
Sounds like
remembered. I'm sure
yeah,
there was.
sounds like that would be the time.
I am convinced there was. Anyway, Werewolf by Night,
Yeah, great.
unbelievable.
Yes.
All the applause to Werewolf by Night. Well,
Yay.
Jeannine, well, let's finally get into a little bit of a let's talk, because we do also want to celebrate 60 years of 007, James Bond,
Yes.
as my sign says today, by talking some of our favourite Bond
Yes, I
villains.
mean, I wanted to do, like, spooky topics all month long, but we had Bond, so villains always kind of evoke the spooky season, that's when your villains come out to play, as it were. So,
Well, they're
yeah.
evil, and horror things are usually evil.
Evil.
So
So that was where this concept came in. Very loose for spooky season, but I think it works.
I would only call a couple of Bond villains truly scary, to be
Yeah.
honest. I would even suggest that Rami Malek in No Time to Die is quite scary, even though he was underwhelming as a Bond
Yes.
villain.
As the final Craig
I
villain.
think he had a
Yeah.
pretty terrifying look to him.
Yes, I mean, he wore a mask. Masks
He
are
looked
all,
like the Phantom of the Opera.
yes. Masks are big on Halloween, so it
They
works.
are. Everybody likes
Well,
masks.
did any of these villains you mentioned, that you're referring to that are actually scary make your list, Morgan?
Well, I actually do have one that I am actually genuinely quite afraid of. Mainly down to the performance of the individual playing the villain.
Yes. Well, we also have an honorable hench person mention.
Oh,
So
that's right as
if you
well,
want to do
yes.
that first.
The honourable ench person, as we have to we have to drop all the H's, like in after drop all the H's for honourable ench person,
Yes.
because we're pretending to be a Victorian Cockney little boy. Honourable inch person, sir. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I can't explain.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It just fits. It's
Yeah.
it's alliteration, but you can't say honourable, so it doesn't make
Yeah. Honorable
sense.
henchman. Yeah.
Honourable henchman,
Hench person. Yeah.
hench person. Well, we each have three, don't we? We each have three of our
Yes.
favourite Bond villains we want to bring up and mention. But my honourable hench person is someone I love dearly, obviously, because it's Red Grant from Russia with Love.
Oh, yes.
Robert Shaw, local hero, Robert Shaw.
Yes. You showed me the Robert Shaw bar in
Yes,
your
I
town.
always love
Claim
whenever
to
Robert
fame.
Shaw
Yeah.
comes up on any show. I always love bringing up the fact that I'm from the same little town that Robert Shaw was born in, and the local big pub is named after Robert Shaw, and it's got full of pictures of Robert Shaw, and you can just go and have a look at the house where Robert Shaw was born if you want to. It's about 2 minutes drive that way.
Okay.
So he is a local hero. He's definitely the most famous person to ever come out of this small little place. And by the way, this is a small little place within a smaller place within Greater Manchester area.
Yeah.
So it's pretty precise, really, for
Yeah.
someone of the stature of Robert Shaw to come from. But he did. So I always bring him up. But also, not just for the fact that it's Robert Shaw and we just love Robert Shaw. Red Grant's a pretty outstanding henchman in the history of
Yes.
Bond movies. He is absolutely ruthless. I always say it's the only time you ever think Bond is going to lose a
Yes,
battle.
I mean, that train fight and the fact that they're both kind of similar stature, like,
Yeah.
he could, and the fact that he's kind of his faction's version of Bond.
Yeah.
That's, I think all of my choices are villains that kind of were able to go head to head with Bond, who made you actually kind of feel some concern for Bond at a certain point.
Yeah.
So I think he's great in that aspect of a villain or a edge person
Yeah.
that kind of created that tension of how is Bond actually going to get out of this? Like, he's probably going to, but how? Because this seems impossible.
I mean, the introduction of him as well. You get
Yeah.
the very opening of From Russia with Love, when Red Grant kind of kills that fake Bond.
Yeah.
In that training session. You get Rosa Klebb coming to visit Red Grant and brass knuckling him in the stomach without a
Yeah,
flinch.
to test his,
He's
strength.
just, I mean,
Yeah.
Robert Shaw just looks so huge and
Yes.
brilliantly built in that movie as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
He is just a complete rock of a man.
Yeah.
And that fist fight on the Orient Express is a really intense fight. It is the only time I ever think that Bond is going to lose a fist fight.
Yeah, they're
Because
rocking
he
the shit out of
Red
each
Grant
other.
just absolutely
Yeah.
pummels him for a
Yes.
lot of that. And he's intelligent as well. He's sneaky, he's suave. He's
Yes, he
not
actually
just
plays all
a
of that. Yeah.
meaningless henchman.
Yeah.
He's very, very far from just a meaningless henchman. I love Robert Shaw. I love Red Grant. And I
Oh,
love From
yes.
Russia with Love.
Yes, you do.
Who is your honourable hench person?
Mine is Xenia on the top.
Is this because of the name?
I mean, that name is great. And she kills people when she's on a top of them. Uh,
He does, yes.
the fact that she has these killer thighs and that's like her weapon of choice, and the way she kind of just relishes it as she's so sinister. And Famke Janssen just looks absolutely gorgeous in this movie, and just how evil she is, and how, so she is a hench person who uh definitely is well trusted for a good reason. And
Oh, yeah.
while she is somebody who kind of does just kind of do what the kind of lead villain is telling her to do, she has some really strong moments in her own right, and it really handles situations. She was very close to killing Bond, which is impressive feat on its own. So yeah, and very disarming with her beauty at that.
I
So
mean, killing people with thighs when you're on top of them,
yes, and your name is on a
and
top.
your name's that. I mean, not a bad way to die, is it really?
No, no.
if you were to ask most
I mean,
of the
they should have
population,
named this Bond film "Not a Bad Way to Die."
not a bad way not a bad way to die. Crushed by thighs.
Crushed by Famke Johnson's
There's plenty
thighs.
of people that would quite enjoy that.
Enjoy that,
I think
yeah. Yes,
plenty of people. I mean,
yeah.
not the dying part of it, but maybe the slight mild crushing by thighs. I think some people would quite enjoy. Whether I'm one of them, I will not disclose. But think
I
about
think you
what you
just
will.
did.
Probably did. But yeah, Xenia's good. I like
Yes,
Xenia.
yes, she's awesome.
As far as Brosnan people go, there's not much. There's not. I don't love the Brosnans, Jeannine.
No.
In general, I like Goldeneye,
Okay.
obviously.
Well, I mean, now you're making me feel very insecure about my picks.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be insecure about your picks. These are your choices.
These are my favorites.
These are your choices and your
Makes
favorites.
me
Jeannine.
feel sad for the rest.
Why are you singing that song? A song you obviously
I do
hate.
hate that song.
I don't know
That
why.
line,
I
that
love
line,
that song.
the line just makes me feel sad for the rest of my picks because you were
I
hating
love
on
Nobody Does It
Brosnan,
Better.
and I have 2 Brosnan villains. on
Well,
my
there's nothing wrong with
list.
that. Brosnan is your Bond, or is Brosnan your Bond? Would you say
Yes,
Brosnan's your
Brosnan is
Bond?
my Bond. He was the Bond I was introduced to, and I'm just loyal to that.
Well, there you
And
go. So that's why.
I am partial to. I have this really kind of odd love for Die Another Day
Of
because
course you do.
that was the first Bond movie I ever saw.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I can completely acknowledge that it's absolutely terrible. But
well, there's a few people that wouldn't even consider Die Another Day the worst Bond film anymore.
No, that's true.
Because Quantum of Solace exists.
Oh, so boring. So boring.
Which
And
at least Die
song,
Another Day is goofy bad.
do I
Quantum
hate
of Solace is boring bad.
Off. Yes, and do I hate that song more than Nobody Does It Better? I think I do.
Yes, you probably do, don't you? You probably
Yes,
do.
I can appreciate Nobody Does It Better. I just think that song is boring.
Anyway,
Okay,
as
we'll
far
get to
as
the
our
songs later.
yes, as far as our 3 Bond villains go, I would like to start. Actually, I might as well start by talking about Red Grant's employer,
Yeah.
Rosa Klebb,
Yes.
because I find Rosa Klebb fascinating. She is the best female Bond villain of all female Bond villains, and you cannot dispute that. Jeannine, I don't care what Xenia does. I don't care what anybody else does.
I would still say she's
Electra.
She's kind of an hench person.
She's not a hench person. She's number
not the
3
main
inspector.
Okay,
She's number 3.
but she's not the main villain.
No, but you see the back of Blofeld's chair in From Russia with Love. Rosa Klebb is the central villain of From Russia with Love.
She did have a really cool shoe knife.
She does the shoe knife so great, and she tries prodding Bond with the shoe knife that she has.
You like the villains that are also kind of vulnerable, I think, because you have someone on your list that was able to kind of convey this kind of cockiness and cunning, but also, very much when their back is against the wall, they're very much like that whole scene when
they get panicked.
she's very much nervous and like sweating and like freaking out, and
It's because she has a job to do.
Yes.
She has a job to do from Blofeld. Get rid of Bond. She, puts Tatiana in the mix. Tatiana doesn't really do a job properly, does she? Because Tatiana ends up falling for Bond, and then Rose is not happy about that.
Yeah.
But I just love Rosa Klebb. I think she's absolutely ruthless in her position. She's so stern. Those little tiny glasses she wears are just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
But a lot of what I love about her is the same kind of stuff to what I love about Red Grant. It's why I think they kind of work really well as
kind of
main villain and henchman in that movie. Is that they're just absolutely non-stop ruthless.
Yeah.
And From Russia with Love is one of the harshest Bond movies because it is just really relentless. And Klebb just embodies that perfectly. The way she speaks as well, the way Lotte Lenya just speaks is just great. I know it's a little bit, let's over stereotype the Russians.
Yeah,
but it's
I mean,
also
a lot of Bond movies are.
So
I watched several Bond movies in a row, and like a lot of them were that.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's basically what Spectre's supposed to be anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
But she's number 3 in Spectre. So she's very, very, I'm pretty sure she's number 3. She's very, very high up.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer her to Blofeld because I think Blofeld is just kind of an image.
Yes.
When Blofeld
It's like a
shows up in
figurehead.
movies, Donald Pleasant's Blofeld has got obviously a great look that most people tend to think of as just Dr. Evil these days. Charles Gray's Blofeld's good in Diamonds Are Forever, and Christoph Waltz's Blofeld's pretty good as well.
I mean, he was a little disappointing considering we've seen him play some epic villains.
Yes, okay, but they
Mm.
fall under the just. It's why I think
Umbrella.
It's why I think Telly Savalas's Blofeld is great.
Yeah.
It's why I think Donald Pleasant's Blofeld is the best one, because it's the one we actually see first. It's the first
Vision
we've
of him.
seen
That's
the back of
not
his
just a
chair.
chair, you know.
Yeah, we've seen the back of his chair. We've seen the cat. All the
That poor cat,
stereotypes.
like clawing the shit out of him.
Yeah,
If you look
all
at
the
it,
stereotypes
when he commits.
we've seen
Yes.
in the prior movies, in the previous movies. And Blofeld kind of turns up, and he's larger than life, but he was better when he was unknown.
Yeah.
I think he was scary. He was scary. He was more impressive as a villain when he was unknown, when he was an unknown presence. Which is why I think Kleb's a good villain, because she not only follows, she's the face of him in that particular movie, but she is not just an image character. She's not just a one-trick character. Like you say, she has panic in her. She has human quality within her because she's doing a job.
Person. Well, Daredevil said it. Henchmen are people who believe in the cause.
Very much so. Very much so.
It separates them from goons.
She is someone who has a job to do. Will stop at nothing to do that job, but gets really afraid for her own safety when she realizes she can't do that job.
Yes, or she messed up. Yeah.
I really like it. I really like Kleb. I really like From Russia with Love. I think she's great. She's one of my favorites.
Yes. Okay. Good pick. Well, I will go with my Ench person's kind of lead and go with 006, Alec Trevelyan.
Yes.
Mr.
Bean.
Yes, Scene Bean.
Not that Mr. Bean. It would be a bit unusual, wouldn't it?
Well, again, I like somebody who can kind of challenge Bond, go toe to toe with him, can kind of get him off his, kind of perfect little kind of, a vibe where he's actually feels like he's threatened and he's in trouble. I think all of my picks are villains that have been able to challenge Bond in that way, which just makes it more fun. And he's definitely kind of the main one who was able to do that. They originally, I think, wanted it to be more of a mentor kind of betrayal. Kind of like something we'd see in I guess I shouldn't say, because we might talk about these films later. It's going to make a comparison.
Oh, okay.
But I won't do that. But they wanted to do a mentor kind of betrayal. But in kind of seeing Sean Bean, they went for more of kind of an equal. They had they thought of more like an Anthony Hopkins type thing. Character, choice for that role. But went for somebody who was kind of a brother with him. And I think that dynamic really kind of worked, and that twist of the betrayal and kind of giving him this almost Harvey Dent Two-Face energy throughout the film. Like now he has this scar and he's playing both sides, and
you understand his mentality though. Throughout the entire movie, you really understand Alec.
And he got Bond to get kind of petty and personal.
Yeah.
Like that final line between the two of them, and he's holding him by his foot on this big drop, which he would have exploded. He wouldn't have just landed like perfectly on the ground. It's so dumb. But when he says, for country, and he's like, for me, and like you see Bond just kind of be petty, like, no, this is for me. Fuck you, guy. Like,
I don't care about England.
Yes, screw my sense of duty in this moment. This is about you and how you screwed me over. And
Yeah.
so I love seeing Bond kind of somebody push him to that kind of personal vendetta kind of point. I think that takes a really strong, impressive villain to get him there, and somebody who, again, challenges him in a way where you kind of worry about how Bond is going to figure this out. And he definitely pushes him and challenges him, and in his own right really has some interesting kind of character things going on with these dual sides of himself. Um, so yeah, I just love him for kind of challenging Bond and in his own right, like you said with Kleb, kind of her being a humanized kind of person and
Yeah.
not just kind of this one note villain. He has these tones to him and ranges to him, and we see both sides of him, and can kind of maybe even sympathize with him in to a certain degree. And even just kind of the twist of him, faking his death and all of that kind of thing to kind of come back and
Yeah.
really mess with Bond in that way. All just really great villain stuff, really interesting villain stuff, not just one note. So I really appreciate him for that.
It's because he's arguably the most personal Bond villain as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know, okay, what the Craig movies did with Blofeld in actually doing what Austin Powers did as a joke before and making the hero and the villain adopted brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
It actually makes that a thing. This is why Spectre's just weird
It's
as a
very weird.
movie.
Yeah.
Why would they think that was a good idea to put in the movie?
No, yeah, why do you need that connection? Just have him be this kind of thing, Bond's in his way. You don't need to take this personal step,
They try
you
and
know?
make it personal, and it doesn't pay off
It
like
doesn't,
it
yeah,
did in Goldeneye, like it did with
no,
Alec.
yeah,
Um, he's a phenomenally personal Bond villain, and I do like Trevelyan
yeah,
as a villain. I think he is very good. He's not quite
yeah.
as scary as my second choice though, because my second choice is Le Chiffre from Casino
Ooh,
Royale,
I mean, he
who Mads Mikkelsen just plays so
so
terrifyingly.
good. He's so good. I mean, he has the look, he has his, villain kind of thing where
He
he
does.
cries, he just blood tears. Like what?
This is the perfect thing I think about Le Chiffre. Now, Casino Royale was the first Bond movie I ever saw.
Are you serious?
I am serious. It was think about when it
You
came out.
I
Think about
know, but it's like you seem like you know more about the history and kind of the world of Bond than I do. And I don't know if that's just like as a British person, like
it's probably
it's
just as a
it's like a,
British
a
person.
British person requirement, you know.
Kind of is.
Um, but like how knowledgeable you are just in general about Bond, that really
I'm not
surprised
some sort of
I mean,
expert though.
you're not, I don't say you're an but like just in comparison to me. Like I'm somebody who gets like movies and villains like all kind of mixed up and think somebody was in this movie that they weren't in, and
Well, I'm like that when it comes to late Roger Moore movies, and I'm all over the place.
yes, but
And
you seem like you
particularly
just
the
seem like
Brosnans.
you have a better grasp on it than me. Like I was introduced with Brosnan in the last Brosnan movie was the first Bond movie I ever saw, and then I kind of backtracked from
Well,
there.
look, think about it. I think Casino Royale is a fantastic introduction to James Bond because it
Oh
is
yeah,
actually the first chronological but
so
James
yeah,
Bond story.
yes. I mean, I while Brosnan is my Bond, that is my favorite Bond movie. It's Casino
It's a
Royale.
brilliant
It's
movie.
so good.
It is an unbelievably good movie, and I did what I between I never watched Quantum of Solace when it came out. But between Casino Royale and Skyfall, that was when I went back and watched the older ones.
Yeah.
So I'd watched Casino Royale first, and then I kind of just delved back into the franchise.
Yeah.
But Le Chiffre in Casino Royale, I remember watching that as like a 10-year-old, just being really scared of Mads Mikkelsen in that movie,
Yeah.
just because of how violent he is,
And
how
he's so
sneaky
heartless.
he is.
He's so emotionless
He
until
is.
his back's on the wall, and just seeing him sweat and panic
Yeah,
and
similar to
freak
Kleb,
out.
though. Similar to
Yeah,
Kleb, I
yes.
have this
'Cause
thing.
and you think for the longest he's just kind of your typical kind of villain. You're just playing it up, one note. While
Yeah.
he's doing great things, he is feeling very one note sinister until you see him break. And when
Until
you
you
see him,
realise, again, that he has somebody that's higher up than him in the
yes,
whole criminal
scheme of
organisation.
everything. Yes, and so to see him kind of panic and sweat and freak out, willing to let his girlfriend get her arm cut off,
Yeah.
to save his own skin, and seeing those kind of layers of him as a person who's not always kind of pristine and in control, and he has to answer to somebody. He in the start of this, he was not playing like someone who answered to anybody. And getting to see that side of him, I think, really humanizes him more on the bad side, because every kind of human emotion that he invokes is very selfish.
Oh,
But even
incredibly
seeing
so.
yes, but in seeing him kind of leave that one note, I'm just your mustache twirling, eye bleeding villain,
Yeah.
you know, I there are more things that I'm afraid of, and more things that I have to answer for, and I'm not the one in charge all the time.
I mean, the
Uh,
weeping blood thing is
yeah.
just so goofy
And
Bond,
yes, and
but
he
it's
himself tries to talk about it like it's not sinister when he is incredibly
yeah,
sinister,
but it's played because of the tone of Casino Royale. It's played so creepily in that
Yeah,
yes, okay, he has his villain trademark, but that just makes it that turns it into it's a Bond movie. Okay, you can have that because they're one on their own Bond movies, aren't they?
yeah,
They have their own kind of tendencies. You almost compare what a good Bond movie is, regardless of what a good movie is, because bad Bond movies can be good movies,
yeah,
and good Bond movies can be bad movies.
yeah,
It's really weird. You have to kind of keep them on their own. Um, but Le Chiffre is the scariest. He is the
yeah.
scariest Bond villain. He tortures Bond. Actually tortures Bond.
But he
He
tortures
really
him in
does.
this yes, in that panic though, like you see him
In
like
the panic.
sweating and stressed and
And it's not the kind of stupidly over the top laser beam to the,
yeah,
groin or
yeah, yeah.
weird
Sharks
thing.
with laser beams attached to their
Exactly.
heads.
Or whatever again, isn't that Inspector? Don't they try and like half lobotomize Bond or something like that? I mean, they
Something
stick some
like
sort of
that.
needle into his head.
Yeah.
Um, no, get a big rock on a rope and whack him.
Yeah, it's like a carpet beater. Yeah, and he just swings it at his
It's
balls.
it's
Ooh.
horrendous to
Oh,
watch.
yeah. You see him cut the thing out of the chair and put Bond on it and just and oh, it's harsh.
Never mind all that, but the poker stuff is just so
Yes. And
compelling to
we
watch
see him
because of Le Chiffre.
yes, we see him one up Bond in that moment. So
We do.
he was just outside of my list by this much because yeah, I mean, seeing him really kind of actually outsmart Bond in a moment uh was really interesting.
I do think Mads Mikkelsen still has given, out of all the 25 Bond movies, has given the best villain performance
Yeah, I could agree
as Le
with that.
Chiffre.
I could
I
agree.
do think that is true, and
Yeah, in terms of performance and character and villain and all of that, I think he definitely is
he
the
is
best. Yeah.
he was my first introduction to Bond villains, and he is definitely still my very,
Well,
very
you're
favourite.
lucky. You're lucky because my
Yes.
introduction was Gustav Graves.
Well, is that on your list?
Oh yeah, number one. No way.
Well, who else?
Well, I know you were kind of disputing this. I was not, not to say she is the first female Bond villain, but I feel like she is the first main lead Bond villain, where she's kind of the lead person. Electra King.
Okay.
Yes. We've seen Bond girls use their beauty as kind of their power, right? As a weapon. But she actually addresses that. She is fully aware of that and she says that. So you don't really hear them kind of talk about that that's what they're doing, and they know that they have that power. We just see them use it. But the fact that she kind of like, as she's torturing Bond in a chair and she sits on his lap and she can kind of do go on this kind of monologue about how she knows that she's beautiful and she knows people can't resist her, and she's going to use that as her weapon. She mutilated herself you know just to kind of play into her plan. um the way she really, she seduced Bond, she tricked him, she like basically like Alec, she
Yeah.
challenged him and disarmed him. And like, yeah, it's such a really interesting scene, like I mentioned, with her having him in that chair and her just kind of taunting him and relishing it. The scene where she's kind of taunting and enjoying, uh kind of talking to M and how she's going to kind of blow her up and no one's going to come for you, and she just is very sinister, and how she's able to do that switch. She plays this beautiful kind of powerful woman but also very vulnerable, and like, really playing up that she needs Bond, only to kind of do this really interesting switch in how she plays it, when we see her as kind of this boss in charge of everything. And the villain who we kind of thought was um our lead guy, now he really turns into the henchman,
Yeah.
and she steps into that light, and it's so seamless the way she's able to kind of play, from this vulnerable person to this woman in power. And the switch she does is just really brilliant. And again, I just love villains who are able to challenge Bond and disarm him, and keep him on his toes, and have us as viewers really kind of concerned about how is he going to get out of the situation, because it's seemingly like this villain is really going to get him this time. And she definitely was somebody to completely disarm him. And like, even watching it, it was a very kind of interesting surprise to see her make that shift into this kind of badass, like in charge person who's not afraid to just kill somebody,
Yeah.
and tortures Bond like that, and kind of monologuing. We don't really see kind of female villains doing kind of
No,
these
no,
epic
that's true.
monologues, and talking themselves up, and kind of this pride in themselves. I think it's kind of a shamed, it's a kind of a female character shame kind of situation. Women aren't allowed to really kind of give themselves accolades and be egotistical and talk about themselves like that, like men can, like male characters can really. So to see her kind of do it, and enjoy it and relish in it, I think was a really interesting thing to see as well, and a fun thing to see in a Bond movie. So yeah, Electra King for being kind of the first lead female villain, and I'm surprised we didn't get more of
Okay.
them, because Bond is all about kind of sexy women. So who wouldn't make a great villain but a sexy woman? So
Yeah, but
uh,
but you think about who all the Bond fans, all the hyper masculine Bond fans would
yeah,
be
would
very
have not.
upset.
Yes. So I like the fact that she was able to kind of crack through that, and be
Yes,
a
it's a good
solid
point.
villain in her own right. I really appreciated
Oh, definitely,
that
definitely.
character for that. Yeah.
She's a good villain. She's
Yes.
a good villain, is Electra.
Yeah.
Um, my last one that I wanted to bring up is from a movie that I think is in a couple of movies that just are perfectly balanced Bond movies. The first two Roger Moore Bond movies, Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, hit the balance of stupid and actually good Bond movies so perfectly
Yeah.
that I can't help but love them, love them both. And I like Yaphet Kotto in Live and Let Die. Sure, I think he's kind of fun.
Yeah. And
As
his death is so
his
stupid
death is
looking.
just ridiculous. Mr. Big in Live and Let Die. It's a weird movie.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about Scaramanga.
Yeah.
Francisco Scaramanga, Christopher Lee in The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yes.
Because, like I said, it's the perfect balance of we're starting to get a bit goofy with Bond, but we're still half serious as well.
Yes.
And Christopher Lee has that ability to be perfectly balanced like that because he's got such an intimidating presence, but he's doing like really kind of stupid things. He's got that weird fun house
Yes, because he
and
grew up in
his
like
tiny
the
little gun.
circus freak show that he puts together with just kind of innocuous items.
Yes, he's
He's
got
got his third
Knack as
nipple.
he's got his
Yeah.
third nipple. He's got Knack as his butler,
Yes,
who's
his own like
actually the
private
villain
island. Yeah.
because Knack's the one who actually turns on everybody in the end.
Yeah.
But Scaramanga's just cool.
Yeah.
He's very confident in himself, very sure of himself, but his whole look, the third nipple, the weird fun house, the tiny little golden gun, is just silly.
Yeah.
He's just ridiculously silly, but played totally straight by
Yes, and
Christopher Lee.
serious. Yeah, and that just makes him more kind of sinister to you.
It
Like,
does. He's great,
yes, you
and
appreciate
it's
that they're just
Christopher Lee,
committing to that. Yes.
because Christopher Lee plays villains
So
so
well.
well and did for
Yeah.
decades and decades and
Mhm.
decades. And also the fact that Christopher Lee himself was the inspiration for James Bond because he was like the cousin of Ian Fleming or something like that,
Yeah.
who actually was a spy during the Second World War. Christopher Lee coming into a Bond movie, playing the villain, playing it with such charisma
Yeah.
that he plays Scaramanga. He plays off Roger Moore. Him and Roger Moore play off so well together.
Yeah.
But it is the tone of him and it is the tone of those first two Roger Moore movies that I just love.
Yeah.
They
I don't
are
know if it was him.
hilariously fun movies while taking themselves very, very seriously.
Yes. I don't know if it was him that I read or saw something that when someone was auditioning, I think I can't remember her name, the Bond girl in that film. She
Oh
two-time
God.
Bond girl.
Is it
She was in
Brett
2
Brett
movies.
Eklund, isn't it? Is it Brett
Uh,
Eklund?
was it well, I think maybe it was her. Um, she was
No, it is Brett
auditioning.
Eklund. It is Brett Eklund.
No, but the other one who was in Octopussy as well. She was in that, right?
Oh
Yes.
God.
But I don't think it was her. I think it was Britt Eklund. I think I saw something where she auditioned with Christopher Lee playing Bond in that
Oh.
thing, and obviously, like, they were like, "He wasn't half bad." Like, he
But he
was
wouldn't
pretty
be,
good.
would he? He'd be
Yes.
great.
So I don't quote me on that, but I wanna say I heard a story or saw something that said that about Christopher Lee. That
I'd
somebody
need
had,
to know.
he was the stand-in for an audition, and he, like, wasn't half bad. So I'm like, "Was it him or was it Robert Shaw?" I don't remember.
I'm
Um,
surprised I actually don't know why Christopher Lee wasn't cast. I mean, maybe it was just felt as too on the nose from Ian Fleming's perspective. Maybe Christopher Lee was just far too busy with Hammer movies in the early 60s.
maybe, yeah.
Um, but I don't know why. I feel like I should look that up. I feel like I should read a bit into maybe the casting process of Sean Connery
Yeah,
because it would be interesting.
and now I really wanna look up and see, like, who that was. I don't feel like it was him after you said that, but I might be wrong. But if it was, that,
Christopher Lee's
I could
great.
see him doing a good reading anyway.
Christopher Lee's
But
great, and Scaramanga
yes,
is great. Jeannine, who
yes,
is your
solid,
last
solid.
Bond villain?
Well, my last pick, another villain who really, challenges Bond, but also, I talked about Electra King really using her, you know, flirting and her sexuality and
Yes,
her to disarm Bond. This villain does the same
kind of does.
and disarms Bond in a different way. And I'm
Kind of
talking about
does.
Raul Silva from Skyfall.
Yes.
Uh, yes, the way he kind of, he captures Bond and then just kind of unnerves him by flirting with him. Like,
Bond
excuse
kind of
me,
plays
sir.
along.
Yes, he's like touching his leg and and Bond is trying to act like he's cool with it, but you can tell he's very unnerved and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When he starts like moving his hands up his thighs, like he does not know what to do. He's so confused. He's like on sensory overload. So to see him kind of break down Bond in that way, like psychologically, by just kind of flirting with him and using sexuality from a male,
Yeah.
a sexually fluid male to a straight male, and use that to kind of mess with him and unnerve him, while you have him tied up. It speaks to a lot of really interesting things. So I kind of
Raul
love
Silva's
that.
a great villain.
Yes, and kind of the whole story of him, the story of his kind of betrayal and this vendetta he has against M, and that whole scene when he takes his
Yeah.
teeth out and you see what happened to him, and this kind of betrayal of his country kind of abandoning him, uh and it kind of leaving this permanent disfigurement of him, that so it's something that he can never forget, in terms of just it's always with him. And the fact that he can hack into MI6 and take over their whole thing and blow them up, and take over their even new facility, and just how brilliant he is in taking down not just Bond, but like everything behind Bond.
Yeah. And
Uh
then make it very, very personal as well.
yes, and uh just so close to kind of winning, and him being the one to take out M,
Yeah.
and yeah, just brilliantly played. His motives, the things he was able to accomplish as a villain. Um and again, not just one note, he has a very personal kind of thing happening, and there's emotion there, and you can kind of understand why he's doing it. He shouldn't be doing it, and you don't agree with him doing it, but you can understand it.
Oh,
um
100%.
you feel his brutality, but you're also kind of intrigued by him, and he's very soft spoken, even when, they have the big battle, and he's just kind of
Yeah.
lamenting, all this running around, it's so it's exhausting. Like, you know,
We don't
can
have to do this,
we really
James.
don't have to do this. All this running around is so exhausting. Like, he's very, the way he talks is so calm and soothing, but so unnerving at the same time, because he's doing all these awful things,
Yeah.
and he's just talking in this very calm tone, and very kind of, reasonable and distinct and distinguished, and it's very unsettling. So he just has so many layers. He's so interesting. And yes, just that kind of scene of him flirting with Bond was
Yeah.
just like, this is interesting. Like,
It's
you
something
know, we
we
see,
had never
yes,
seen before.
no, like we see all getting Bond, and the women are kind of like hand in hand, and we've seen them use it. Like I talked about Elektra. So to see a man villain use it, it was just a really interesting thing, and I really kind of was into that, and from that moment on to the rest of how we see this villain and the layers of him going through the rest of the movie is just something we've never seen before, which was really kind of exciting and interesting. So definitely a top villain for me.
Yes,
Rafa Silva.
such a confident performance from
Yes.
Javier Bardem,
Yes.
and a brilliant movie, and a brilliant villain for the 50th
Yeah.
anniversary of Bond.
Yes.
Just a great. It's staggering to me how unbalanced the Daniel Craig Bond movies are.
I know. It's like good, bad,
You
good, bad.
you
Good.
get two of the very best ever
Yes.
Bond movies, with two of the very best ever villains in Le
Yes.
Chiffre and Silver.
And two of the very
Two
best
of the
Bond songs.
two of the very best Bond songs. Well, I mean, I really like No Time to Die
Ah, yes, it's
as a
beautiful.
song. As a movie, I really liked it as
I
well.
really
The
enjoyed it as
villain,
well.
okay, little bit lackluster. But my
Yeah.
God, to have Casino Royale and Skyfall mixed in with Quantum of Solace and Spectre is
Spectre.
just bizarre.
Yes, it's very
The
strange.
inconsistency,
Yes.
of the
Yes, I
Daniel
don't get
Craig
it.
Bond movies
Yeah.
is ridiculous. But Raul Silva is just unbelievable.
Yes.
If there's anybody that gives Le Chiffre a run for their money, it's the guy that King 2 movies later.
Yes, definitely.
He's really, really good. I love him. Well, Jeannine, let's get into finally a little
I
bit of
know.
fun and games. Let's not take too much time. I feel like we could be thinking about these things for a while, so maybe passing
Yes.
is possibly the best thing to do with some of them
Yes.
today.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard. I
It
suck
is
at this.
probably going to be hard, but we're getting into some fun and games. We have a Bond song game. Jeannine's got some song lyrics from older Bond movies. I think have you gone Connery, Lazenby, and Moore?
Yes.
I have gotten Bond lyrics from songs from Dalton, Brosnan, and Craig.
Okay.
And basically, it's follow the lyric. That's what we're playing.
Yes.
Sing the next lyric. You don't have to necessarily sing it, but it might help. It might help in actually figuring out what is going on. I have written the movie it comes from next to it, if that
Okay.
probably helps, I think.
Okay.
So I think we've got 5 each. And let's just go, Jeannine, with it, with a bit of fun and games, a bit of follow the Bond lyric. What's that?
Okay.
Name that tune. Not name that tune, is it? Well, it's
Yeah, guess the lyric.
guess the lyric.
Continue the
Guess the
song.
Bond
Yes.
lyric.
Yeah.
Follow up, sing some Bond songs, because there's more great Bond songs than there is. There more great Bond songs than there are great Bond villains. There's a topic of
Oh,
conversation.
yes, I think so.
I think there probably is, because I
And
think there's plenty of good Bond songs that come in movies with lackluster villains.
that is true. And just to note, this game was inspired by the release of a really solid documentary on Amazon, The Sound of Bond, that came out, kind of chronicling all the music of Bond. So yeah, if you are somebody who is a fan of the Bond songs, check it out on Amazon. It was a really good
Yes.
documentary.
Celebrating 60 years of Bond, as my
Yes.
sign says again. So,
Yes.
would you like to go first, Jeannine, or should
Yeah.
I go first?
As per usual, I would just like to get my embarrassment out of the way, so you ask me first, please.
Okay. From the song Skyfall, from Skyfall by Adele.
Okay.
This is the end.
Hold your breath and count to 10.
Yes. Yes. It is the opening lyrics of Skyfall.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Your
I thought I'd
first
start
is
you off a little bit.
thank you.
Little bit
Thank
simple.
you. Okay, yours is diamonds are forever. Okay. So diamonds are forever. Hold one up and then caress it. Touch it.
Oh. Oh dear. Oh God. I know the tune of Diamonds Are Forever. Is that where it starts to go? Is that when it
No,
starts to go like
no.
that? Oh,
I can sing it for you.
please sing it.
Diamonds are forever. Hold one up and then caress it. Touch it.
Touch it.
Remember what I told you this
And
the documentary
and
told me what this song is about.
yes, touch it and then impress it. Oh,
So, if you do watch that documentary, there's a conversation that they had with Shirley Bassey. Just talk about the diamond like it is a, a, a penis.
Pete,
What would you want to do with the penis? So
impress it.
this
I think that works. Impress it. Would
touch
you want?
it, stroke it, and undress it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes, stroke it and
Okay.
undress it.
Way to be lurid, Shirley.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know.
Well, it wasn't her decision. They just
No, it
told her
wasn't.
to think
Well,
about
don't
it.
blame Shirley Bassey.
Mm,
Don't blame Shirley Bassey. Okay. Lyric number 2, Jeannine,
yes.
from the movie Casino Royale, and the song You'll Never Know My Name? I don't know.
You know my name.
You Know My Name. Arm yourself because no one else here will save you.
Love yourself because no one else hears you.
You've got the tune.
I know.
You've got where it comes.
Love yourself because no one else here will save you. It longs to kill you.
Oh, no.
No.
The odds will betray you.
Okay.
Is the correct lyric there. Chris Cornell.
Yes, R.I.P. Had a beautiful voice. Love that song. But obviously obviously not enough.
It's a tough one to know the lyrics.
Yes.
To be fair.
Yeah, I'm like, can't deny the okay.
Yeah.
All right. We have all the time in the world.
I don't know any more lyrics to that damn song.
Okay, well, that's the next line. What is the next line? We have all the time in the world.
We have all the time in the world. We unfortunately died a horrible death. I've no idea.
Time enough for life.
Time enough for life. Yeah, yes. It was kind of what I said.
Yeah, sure. Real close.
It's the same concept.
Yeah, I don't know.
We unfortunately died a horrible death, time enough for life, but we all died because the 2 times that song's ever in Bond, somebody dies. Bond himself.
Yes.
And Mrs. Bond.
Yes,
Diana
Mrs.
Rigg.
Bond. Yes.
I mean, it's a great song. I love the song. I don't know any of the lyrics of the song apart from that.
We've got all the time in the world.
It's Louis Armstrong's just genius,
great.
And I love it.
Great.
Okay, number 3. From The Living Daylights.
Oh, no. I don't know that one at all. That was like the one I listened to, though.
Set your hopes up way too high. It's kind of a repeating line at the end of the song.
Say it again.
Set your hopes up way too high. From The Living Daylights by Aha.
Just because there's no time to die.
The living's in the way we die.
Oh, okay. I knew it had to be some die at the end to rhyme.
It's living and dying and living daylights and all this.
Okay,
the living daylights. That's how you have to sing that as well.
That is my...
The living daylights.
Yeah, that's not one of my favorites. It's on the bottom for me. So don't feel too bad about that one. I'm kicking myself for You Know My Name because I love that song. But okay, we're getting my favorite.
Oh, good.
Nobody does it better.
I'm not gonna know it now.
I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. I tried to.
Oh, God, sing it.
I wasn't looking.
Yeah, so it is that.
Somehow you found me. I tried to.
Oh. I tried to forget you. Forget you. No.
Is that your final answer?
I wasn't looking, but then
somehow I found me. I tried to.
Oh, hide my heart away, something like that.
Oh, so close.
What is it?
Hide from your love.
Oh, it's that same damn concept. Come on, give me that.
Hide. You got the hide in there.
Oh, stupid Carly Simon. Nobody does it better. I love it. It's so good. Okay. From No Time to Die by Billie Eilish from No Time to
I
Die.
don't know those lyrics, but okay.
Was it obvious to everybody else that I'd fallen for a lie?
Oh, I need to hear it. I need to hear it sung.
Was it obvious to everybody else that I'd fallen for a lie? You've got the tune exactly.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
If you want me to actually actively breathe it down the microphone like Billie
you
Eilish
will
does, then...
you will never see me cry.
Oh, it's very close. You were never on my side.
That's never see me cry. You will never see me cry.
I think it is a lyric in there.
There's just no time.
Yes,
to
that's right.
Damn it!
Very, very close. Very, very close there.
Damn it. Okay.
Can Morgan get one? Oh no, I've still got two more.
Goldfinger.
We know this one. No.
He's the man.
Oh.
The man with the Midas touch. A spider's touch.
Yes.
Such a cold finger.
Yes. Oh God. Oh. No, that's the spider one. Oh God. Such a cold finger. Such a cold finger. I know the spider one. You know when they talk about spiders in that song.
You're still on the spider one.
I'm still on the. It's still the spider one.
Mm-hmm. Even with the cold finger, it's still
just
the
a cold
one.
finger. Break free from his web of sin.
Oh, so close.
Is that? What is it then?
Such a cold finger beckons you to enter his web of sin.
What?
But don't go in.
Oh God! The spider ones then break free from his web of sin. Oh, stupid
beckons
web
you
of sin.
To enter his web of sin. Yeah,
I don't want to enter Goldfinger's web of sin. I want to break free from Goldfinger's web of sin
with his cold finger.
His cold finger. His cold gold finger.
Yes.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay, Jeannine, your last one.
Oh, okay.
Golden eye, I found his weakness.
Oh no. I don't know this one well either. What rhymes with weakness?
It's not necessarily a rhyme.
I know.
From GoldenEye by Tina Turner. Sung by Tina Turner. I don't think it was written by Tina Turner.
No, it was written by Bono.
Bono? Oh, I don't like Bono. Stupid sunglasses.
I can't even give a guess.
GoldenEye, I found his weakness. GoldenEye, he'll do what I please.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you have to growl it like Tina Turner as well. Okay.
We are epically failing. All right.
It's a defensive game today.
It's Thunderball.
Oh, not Thunderball. Not Thunderball.
Okay. I'll take pity on you.
You could have given me
from Russia with love. How about that?
I don't know that song either. I don't even know that song.
What is the song you think you know from this era? I will give it to you.
Down Beneath the Mango Tree from Dr. No.
I almost did that one.
Oh God. No, I don't. I know the title tune.
You know,
but I don't know any
blind mice.
The three blind mice from the start. Yes, the Calypso songs from Dr. No.
3 blind mice. Okay.
Walking down the street.
Yeah, I mean that's so easy. Okay, what is that the one you're picking?
No, pick whatever you want.
Okay.
Pick whatever you want.
I already picked that one. Oh, okay. All right.
Live and Let Die I might not be too bad on, but
Let's pick one that I like.
okay. You seem to have a lot written down there.
Tweet, tweedly, tweedly,
Okay.
tweedly, tweedly, tweedly.
Not a chance I'm going to know this, but okay.
You drift through the years and life seems tame till one dream appears.
And we're all to blame.
And love is its name.
Oh, okay. Fair enough, Nancy.
I win.
You win with the opening of Skyfall. You win. The obviously most easiest possible one.
I know.
You win. We're not very good with remembering the Bond songs.
We love them, but yes. I was close with Billie Eilish, and you were close with your Web of Sin. But
I was close with... What else was I close with? I was close with another one. Was I not close with, like...
You were close with another one, yeah.
I was close with another one. I forget what it was now. It wasn't Diamonds Are Forever. What was it?
Nobody Does It Better?
Possibly, yeah. Oh, anyway, Jeannine, there we go. Another episode of Monday Madness. Fun games as always. Yes. Bond-related discussions. David Harbour Santa Claus. Super Mario Brothers. Schmoedown ending. Machine Mondays. And Marvel's Monsters in Werewolf by Night. And, you know, just a shred of She-Hulk as well. Why not? Why the hell not? Excitement. Jeannine, this is not the only show we have on this podcast feed or this YouTube channel, though, is it?
It is not. Of course, on this very YouTube channel, we have some fun things. We do watch-alongs, we do fun live discussions, we have videos, reviews, retro trailer reactions. Morgan does some fun breakdowns of his physical media collection. Yes, he's an avid collector with a great selection of films always for you to check out. So a lot of fun things on this YouTube channel. So please like, share, subscribe to the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. But you can also find on the podcast feed, It's a Wonderful Podcast. Every Wednesday, we have Morgan Hasn't Seen, where I force Morgan to watch things he hasn't seen. We've been having some fun talking the Purge films all October long. I mean, you've been enjoying yourself more than you thought you would.
A little bit.
Give me that at least.
A little bit.
Yes. So every Wednesday, please check out Morgan Hasn't Seen. And of course, every Friday, we have our main show, It's a Wonderful Podcast, where we give love to classic films. We're doing some fun horror film discussions over there as well. So please check it out.
Let's not forget how great last week's episode of the main show was. The Willard and Ben
retrospective. So fun talking those movies. Yeah.
Yes. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have you covered on the podcast feed on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Amazon Music, everywhere else. And for all those fun things that Jeannine mentioned, we have on the YouTube channel. Subscribe and ding your notification bells on this It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel if you are here watching. Things scrolling down at the bottom of the screen if you are watching, including our Patreon, our donation link that are in the descriptions if you would like to join us, if you are feeling generous. We cannot do what we do without the wonderful support of our patrons and donations and things like that, and we are endlessly grateful for them, certainly. You can also find the show on Twitter at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on Twitter at the Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E in there, because, Jeannine,
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at just the Purple Don. All your delightful stuff is where
You can find me at Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can see it scrolling below, or just search it on teespring.com. Search It's a Wonderful Podcast, and you will find a link to our shop. We have some fun merch over there, all our logos, some fun designs, some fun Stranger Things designs. So please check it out there. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
Well, there we go, Jeannine. I think it's probably only right to do it in a Goldfinger song impression, please. Don't really know how you would do that as a countdown.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't know. You're really just thinking outside the box. Okay.
Either that or an impression of Sean Connery.
Oh no. Both sound terrible. 3, 2, 1.
It works. Bye. Yes.
In a world where Mondays are taken over by a machine, welcome to Machine Mondays.